So as we inch closer and closer to March and the beginning of free agency, there has yet to be any new movement regarding Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys and their contract negotiation and what might be going on throughout that entire process. We don't know the full details. However, in this video, we're going to be talking about what could possibly happen this year to really dictate how everything else goes forward this off season. So with that being said, before I go any further, if you guys could by all means drop a like on this video, helps out the video and the channel and the algorithm, so that would be greatly appreciated. It doesn't take too long to do. Also, if you are new, by all means subscribe. About 95% of you guys watching are not subscribed, so I recommend you do so if you want to see more Dallas Cowboys content. And finally, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on new content when it drops. Now, with all that out of the way, the Dallas Cowboys sit at a crossroads with their franchise. They need to decide whether or not they're going to bring Dak Prescott back. And for me, it is a no-brainer decision. Dak Prescott is the proven commodity that you have that is better than any other options that are currently out there. As we sit here, there are no free agent quarterbacks that can come in and replicate Prescott's production. And more importantly, there is no quarterback out there, especially in the draft, that can instantaneously be put into his position and fix everything, or more specifically and more honestly, really have the same level of production in the same argument. You know, it comes down to, can you get the same level of production for a cheaper amount? And unfortunately, I don't see that. But knowing the Dallas Cowboys, and especially Cowboy or Stephen Jones, whoever you want to refer to him as, he's going to try and do this nonsense where he wants to just play with fire. And this isn't something you should be doing, because the last thing you want to do is piss him off and he goes off somewhere else, wins, and you're stuck without a franchise quarterback and back in QB purgatory for the next 5 to 10 years. And we don't want that, do we? So, with that being said, what is going to happen with Dak Prescott and this whole contract situation? Now, this is what I personally feel is going to happen, and I hope I'm wrong. What I think is going to happen is it's going to be a repeat of last year. They will franchise tag Dak Prescott. He will get $37.7 million straight up in terms of a one-year deal. He will wait until the final day, that being in July, to sign the tag. He will sign the tag. At that point, everybody would have filled their QB needs, or rather, everybody has done all their moves, and the Dallas Cowboys, have no real maneuvers to get themselves out of this mess. They can't just let Dak walk, and more importantly, why would you trade a starting quarterback when the draft has already passed by and stuff like that? Now, that's what I think will happen, but do I think a long-term deal gets done? I do think eventually they will succumb to the pressure. It has a lot to do with the morale and the chemistry of the team, but more importantly, in the Joneses' eyes, he is the moneymaker. Dak Prescott is keeping your team relevant. If he is not quarterbacking your team and it's someone else, you are not going to make a ton of money unless that you bring in a guy like Trevor Lawrence, who's been coveted by everybody in the media and especially draft experts and whatever the case may be. Unless you can get him, you are going to be at a point to where the fans will check out, more importantly, especially if your main goal is bottom line and dollar, what you're getting, in terms of profit. Letting Dak Prescott walk would be a massive mistake. I think that the Cowboys eventually cave in after a long set of seasons finally getting this situation ironed out. Now, I want to be emphatically clear as well for those that think that his new deal is Dak being greedy. First off, the man's not under contract. Second of all, he's already given you how I would say, benefit of a doubt in terms of having a cheap deal to play on with his rookie deal. And I think that a lot of people need to also be aware of that just because he plays for the Dallas Cowboys does not mean that he has to give them a hometown discount. I think that's a load of crap, because ultimately he has provided them quality service, and in return he deserves to be compensated. If the Joneses do not want to compensate him, by all means let him walk and have the best of luck in quarterback purgatory until you find your next franchise quarterback, which could be a long time unless you get lucky in this draft or in next year's draft. But I digress. I do believe that Dak Prescott will play for the Dallas Cowboys in 2021. I think that is a given. I think that Dak knows that it's in his best interest to play for the team in 2021 with or without a long-term deal to drive up his price and wait for the entire quarterback market to keep pushing that price up. Once he is done in 2021, I think that the Cowboys have to cave in and give him a deal, or rather they should just give it to him now, because ultimately if you do not give Dak Prescott his money, he will walk and you are screwed. So you can't franchise tag him next year. If you're going to go to Kirk Cousins route, I recommend that if you honestly don't want him, you let him walk. So I think that Dak Prescott is in a situation where he holds all of the leverage. Okay? The Joneses can't do anything. Oh, well, Dak got hurt. Well, it's not like the team played any particularly better without him. You know, they hit a rock bottom with, going 2-7 at one point, I believe, off the top of my head. And, sure, they finished 6-10 in a commendable, streak of games where they were able to kind of rally. But that's not what we're here to discuss, because, we're not talking about, oh, well, Andy Dalton, he could be the quarterback. No. Andy Dalton cannot give you the same production, okay? Andy Dalton you're getting older and you're downgrading at the position. If you get a rookie quarterback, you're downgrading at the position. Sure, you're getting younger, but then again, quarterbacks play for 10 plus years, especially, 10 plus years after they're 30 or 28. So Dak Prescott's got plenty of gas in the tank. Oh, well, I don't know about his ankle. Okay, first off, based off of what the experts have been saying in terms of doctors and other professional experts in terms of medical field, he should be fine, and he will make a full recovery. I know that it's funny because the Dallas Cowboys always love to throw this nonsense of, oh, well, David Moore coming out and saying what Steven is really saying. They always do this negotiation through the media bullshit, to put it lightly, and that's not cool. So I think that they need to get something done. If you don't get something done, you're screwed for 5 to 10 years. Okay, and that is not hyperbole or any of that to be the case. It's just, look, you either get this thing done or you don't. If you don't want him, let him go. If you want to keep him, by all means, keep him in a Dallas Cowboys uniform till he retires. He wants to be here. He's expressed that he's probably going to be here next year. And the last thing you want to do is you win the division next year. You maybe win a playoff game if you're lucky, 2 or 3. And you end up being in a position where you can't get into those top picks to get a quarterback to replace him if you decide to let him walk. And if Dak Prescott takes you to the playoffs again, he makes you get to a wild card game, the divisional round, and even if hypothetically this is possible, the NFC Championship game, which anything's possible at this point. If he gets you there, you have no choice but to pay him. You let him walk, you're screwed. Plain and simple. So I know that this is an all-round talking of Dak Prescott, what's going on, how I feel things are going to play out, but ultimately, this is going to dictate how the rest of the offseason goes. If there's any movement, cool. If by me making this video, they all of a sudden magically sign him, cool. But ultimately, we're just on a standby. And I think we're going to see franchise tag, long wait. They'll sign the franchise tag, play on 2021, and they'll possibly most likely cave in and give him a long-term deal next year if it's not done this year. So I think I've rambled and ranted for long enough. If you guys enjoyed this video, by all means, make sure to leave a like down on this video, as well as subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I'll catch you guys out in the next one. Okay, guys? Have a great one. Bye-bye.